This week on EV Rider, we've got to tell the tape. A direct comparison between LiveWire's S2 Mulholland and Zero's SRF. I own this SRF and recently got to spend a day with this S2 Mulholland, courtesy of Adam at Harley-Davidson, racking up more than 100 miles. I'll throw a link to the Mulholland review at the end of this video. First, let's go over the price. In 2024, Zero actually makes variations of this S-Line bike. The fairest comparison is to Zero's base Model S model, which carries a retail price of $14,995. The Mulholland starts $1,000 higher at $15,999. Keep in mind, prices may have changed by the time you watch this video, and those base prices don't include any dealer discounts or potential incentives. The S-Line Zero featured in this video is a 2020 SRF. In 2024, the SRF features a bigger battery and a lot more torque than the base S. When I reference stats, I'll be referring to the 2024 Zero S to keep this comparison even. The Zero S and Mulholland are closely matched in a lot of ways, with the biggest difference being battery sizes. The S comes with a 14.4 kilowatt-hour battery with 12.6 kilowatt-hours of usable capacity, while the Mulholland has 10.5 kilowatt-hours of usable capacity. When it comes to torque and horsepower, both bikes have more than enough for most of us, but the LiveWire screams with 194 pound-feet of torque and 84 horsepower. LiveWire says that's good for a 3.3 0 to 60 run, which based on my seat-of-the-pants experience, feels right. The Zero S has 97 pound-feet of torque and 65 horsepower. If you want more, you'll have to step up to the SRF. But that's really a closer competitor to the LiveWire 1, so we'll stick with the S. The Mulholland also wins in the weight department, coming in at just 432 pounds, compared to 492 pounds for the S. The Mulholland sits a little bit taller than the SRF. Out on the road, they both feel light on their feet. Around town, I'd say the Mulholland feels a bit more flickable, although the Zero's lower seat height makes for a more comfortable experience when you're stuck at stoplights, since more riders can flat-foot the Zero due to its lower seat height. In terms of overall comfort, the Mulholland wins hands down. The seating triangle is more relaxed compared to the Zero's more aggressive riding position. The Mulholland's seat is also more comfortable as the miles start piling up. So in terms of how these two bikes compare, first off, let's talk about build quality. I gotta give the nod to the Mulholland. Nothing against the Zero, I own this Zero, but I gotta say, I felt the fit and finish is superior on the LiveWire. That makes sense. Harley's been in this business a very long time. Now, when it comes to range, well, the Zero beats it all day long. When it comes to handling, that's tougher. I didn't get to spend as much time with the Mulholland to be able to make a really good assessment on handling, but first impressions, very strong. Zero says the S will go up to 101 miles in a 50-50 mix of city and interstate riding at 70 miles per hour. LiveWire does its testing a bit differently, but says you can expect 91 miles going 55 miles per hour. Out in the real world, it quickly became clear the 2024 Mulholland has significantly less range than my 2020 SRF, which had the same battery size as the 2024 Zero S.
The LiveWire's guessometer, which of course all cars and motorcycles that are EVs try to give you an estimated range, I would hazard to say that this bike's estimated range is pretty optimistic based on how fast I'm seeing the battery drop. I left the house with 99% and I've only gone maybe 10 miles and I'm already down to 84% of range. Although it's interstate riding, so I would expect the range to drop pretty quickly on the interstate.
But here's the thing. You can't really go wrong with either of these bikes. They're both
great urban commuters. Although if you want to do some light touring, in that case, you probably want to lean toward the Zero.
That's simply because you'll get a few extra miles of range before you need to stop for a charge. But even there's not a clear winner because the base Model S only charges at 3 kilowatts, while I saw a peak of 5 kilowatts from the Mulholland, and I've seen other Mulholland owners report 5.5 kilowatt peak charging speeds. Back on the road, the two bikes take a different approach to braking, with the Zero using dual J1 discs while the Mulholland features a single Brembo up front. Both have anti-lock brakes, with the Zero using Bosch's base motorcycle stability control system and LiveWire using cornering enhanced anti-lock brakes. When it comes to the gauge clusters, I like the Zero's better. It does display more information and have a little bit more customization. However, when it comes to the infotainment options, the Mulholland wins with dedicated infotainment controls that the Zero just doesn't have. The Mulholland also offers on-screen navigation. Zero had tried on-screen navigation for a while in a beta, but has since dropped the feature. Both bikes have a variety of drive modes where you can customize things like torque and regen. They can also receive over-the-air updates.
Now, if you were to ask me which bike I think looks better, oh, that's a tough call. I really like the look of both those bikes. I know that's a bit of a cop-out, but let's face it, styling is subjective anyway.
So adding it all up, if we stick to the base model Zero S, which bike wins? To me, the Mulholland. It's got the base S beat due to the LiveWire's stronger performance and more premium feel. But it's a razor-thin margin, especially when you consider the Mulholland costs more and has a smaller battery. As I said earlier, if you'll be sticking to primarily urban use cases, you can't really go wrong with either bike.
So what do you think? If you were putting your dollars down, would you pick the LiveWire or the Zero? Let me know in the comments.
If you've enjoyed this episode of EV Rider, please give this video a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can bring you more adventures in EV motorcycling. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.